A lot of people tell me, Jared, love your vans, interested in doing some camping in Japan, but I don't know what to do, where to go. So I thought I'd make a quick video just explaining how you can go about it. So grab some coffee, just got mine coming through now, and yeah, let's go through it. The first question is, of course, which campervan company you're going to use in Japan? And the answer, of course, is Dream Drive, our campervan business. We provide the bedding, we provide the towels, we even put toothbrushes in. We try and go for more like the hotel on wheels kind of vibe. We also have all the camping gear, pots, pans, plates, cooking stove, chairs, tables. So of course you need to bring some clothes. And the other thing you want to bring is, or rent, is a Wi-Fi internet adapter. Driving in Japan is easy, but you would want to have GPS. And the best one is the Google Maps. Like, that's better than the Japanese sat nav. A lot of the sat nav companies in Japan are only in Japanese. It requires you to use phone numbers, and even if you're going to use the Japanese GPS, you'd still want to be able to check Google Maps, find a phone number of the place you're going to or a place nearby, and program that number into the Japanese sat-nav. But where should you park in Japan to sleep? Well, there's quite a few options. The most famous option in Japan is a roadside station, or Michino Eki. These are set up all around Japan. There's not many in Tokyo, but once you get out of Tokyo, they're pretty much all over. There's a link to a map in our description where you can see a lot of these places. The roadside stations usually have toilets, onsen. They have like the hot spring bathhouses. They have restaurants sometimes too, with some nice regional food and other activities. Depends what they feel like building at each roadside center. These places are great for resting. They're kind of spots where you can pull over and sleep in the van. They can get quite busy. Some places which get really busy would not welcome sleeping in cars as much, but generally they're very open to that, and if you're just staying for one night, that's fine. But if you try and stay for multiple nights in a row, they might ask you to move on. The other options is highway rest stops, just on the side of the highways, expressways. Many people sleep here actually. It's kind of similar to a roadside station, but there's generally no onsen, so you'd have to go to a separate onsen. A lot of the onsen around Japan also allow people to park and sleep at the onsen. So on our map too, we're starting to include some of these locations. So the map's really designed so you can just go with the flow and find somewhere near to where you are at the moment. Other options are RV parks. Japan has got a network of RV parks where you pay to park. They have some of these are really set up and amazing, have swimming pools, all kinds of cool activities. Other ones are kind of like a tennis court with some like parking. So the quality really depends on the place. But if you need to recharge a battery or something, you need to plug in, especially in summer. Like, some of our vans include air conditioning, but the air conditioning uses the batteries so quick, you'd be better off parking at an RV park and then paying to plug in for that, like those 4 weeks which get really hot in the summer. But yeah, these are good places to set up. Campsites too, if you want to set up, you want to have a fire, for example, and do a bit more outdoor nature kind of feeling. Campsites are great for that. The other option is downtown and coin parking. So I've done this a few times if I'm visiting cities. It's kind of like stealth camping in other like countries. You basically black out the wind, pull all the curtains up, and yeah, I've never had any issues. But I'm quite incognito when I do this. I don't pop out of the barbecue or anything like that on the outside of a van or hook up a hammock. But yeah, if you're just sleeping, then it's generally fine. Showering is a little bit more tricky. There are plenty of onsen and sento in most cities, but like when I'm doing this, it's normally I'm pulling up and I'm going back to the van quite late at night, and maybe the onsens and sentos have closed. The other option is actually the Manga Kissa. There's these facilities in Japan where people pay, and they have like little rooms you can rent to read the manga, the comic strips, or they have computers. A bunch of these have shower rooms. So what I do is I pay to go in. They have like a drink bar, like unlimited refill drinks and stuff, but I basically just go in, pay a little bit extra to use a shower, and leave. There's not really much in there to do. All the mangoes in Japanese, but yeah, I just use it as a shower. It'd probably end up costing me about 700 yen, 800 yen to do that. So when is the best time to do car camping in Japan? Well, I think any time is a great time, but there are some pros and cons. Like in summer, it gets really hot in the height of summer, especially the rain season can be a bit tricky. It's usually quite a busy season for campervan travel. But yeah, basically my tip in summer is to go north, go away from the heat, up to North Japan, Hokkaido, or just into the mountains, especially at night time. It gets much cooler, and then you have a really great experience. But going south, like Kyoto in summer, would not be a good idea. It gets really hot and humid. I thought I knew hot and humid before I came to Japan, but I didn't. So yeah, just watch out for that. Winter is actually a really good time. I think the most underrated time to go on a campervan trip around Japan is November. You have autumn leaves. The weather's really nice, and for whatever reason, it's just not a busy time of year. So yeah, I would recommend definitely look at November. In winter, it's the opposite. You probably want to go south because the roads can get really dangerous and obviously full of snow and icy up north, and there's way more accidents in north. Some people do campervanning and snowboarding. You'd probably want to rent a 4-wheel drive and snow tires and so forth for that. It can also get really busy in Japan during certain times of the year. There's a week like Golden Week. There's, I don't know, like just after New Year's. The roads get really busy, people coming back into town. So if you're scheduled to come back into town, the company you rent from would normally warn you on this, depending on what dates you're coming back. But it can get really busy getting into Tokyo. If you're going to Tokyo certain times of the year, just a few weeks of the year. So when it comes to driving in Japan, I have another video on that. It's very easy. Okay, expressways are a great way to get around Japan quickly. They are all throughout the country. They're usually paid roads, so you can really end up paying quite a bit. But it's a great way to just move fast. They have you need a ETC card in the van or the car just which makes you just drive straight through, so it's quicker. It's also cheaper. And a good tip is to drive at night time if you want to save money on the roads. Because if you drive at night time, there's a big discount on the fee, and there's barely anybody on the road, so you can move around pretty quickly that way. But one thing about that, it's not the most scenic way to see Japan. They have large walls up. Some of the expressways are really nice too, but it's sometimes nicer to get off expressways. I would recommend people using the expressway to get out of Tokyo, to get towards whatever part of Japan you want to explore, and then jumping off and using more of the side streets, except for in winter when they can get quite dangerous. So when you're on your campervan holiday in Japan, languages can be a bit of a hurdle. Driving is usually okay, especially if you've got Google Maps. But what can be tricky is the food. As you get away from Tokyo, there might be some other little inconveniences as well. With food, you've always got the convenience stores all over Japan, and they can be great places just to go and grab a sandwich or some fried food and so forth. But yeah, the restaurants usually have picture menus, but it's not always so easy to figure out what's going to happen when you walk in. I definitely recommend being adventurous and trying some of these places out. The big onsens have some great restaurants inside them. Michinoekis normally have some good options, but yeah, you might end up having a few meals at convenience stores, but they're actually really quite good. The bento boxes there are usually quite good, so that shouldn't be a big issue at all. And when it comes to getting drinks, there's vending machines everywhere, and yeah, of course, buying some large bottles of water would be a good idea before you get on your way. The other thing to mention is the coin laundry. I'm guessing if you're on a trip for more than a few days, you might want to wash some clothes. The coin laundry, I'll put the word katakana word for that in the description. Just put in Google Maps. You should see a lot of options for that. The coin laundries are very reasonably priced and very simple to use. You can usually buy the detergent there as well. So yeah, it might take a couple of hours, but go to the coin laundry, hit the conveni while you're waiting for the clothes to dry. Yeah, and they're quite easy to use in Japanese. No problems there. So yeah, so that's the basics on like what you need to know to do a campervan trip in Japan. In terms of where to go and what to do, you can pretty much go anywhere. But here is a easy first timers like road trip from out of Japan. I recommend going for at least 2 days. Like going for one night's never fun for a camping trip. But let's say you went for 3 nights. From Tokyo, I'd recommend, we've got a recommended location here, but go to Hakone for day 1. They have an amazing onsen there. They've got great little towns, mountains. You can do the cable cars trip. You can get lost in these cool, well, not lost, fun lost in these little villages and towns around the little train tracks around a mountain. And then afterwards, there's a really good sauna there. And onsen where you can go and get ready for the next day. Day 2, I recommend going down to Izu. Izu's great. There's not many trains around there, and it's just one of the most amazing places. We always recommend a town called Heda, where you can go, and they've got like deep water fishing there. It's a deep water bay. They have amazing seafood. I'm not saying you should go fishing. You can rent fishing rods actually. From the hostel there. They have good food options, some vegan options there as well, and it's just a really cool town. And then day 3, of course, Mount Fuji. A good place to see Fuji from is Lake Saiko. It's just fun to drive around the Fuji area, get different views of the mountain. But yeah, Lake Saiko is a really good spot. We recommend. They've got some cool restaurants, and there's another super Sento, as they call it, like big onsen. I'm not sure if it's actually a real onsen or a Sento. The difference there being if the water is naturally from the water or if they're just heating water. But anyway, but basically Lake Saiko is a really good spot to just chill out and enjoy the view of Fuji from next to the lake. So yeah, that's an easy trip in 3 days, and but all the maps links to that is in the description below too. And then after that, I think people feel pretty confident just to go with the flow and just choose some spots they want to go there, and then find some spots to sleep and so forth. So yeah, hope that was helpful. Yeah, any questions or comments, chuck them in the comments section, makes sense. And yeah, make sure you subscribe for future